Good morning, BST. My name is Elijah Abdul Sayed. Welcome to this episode of BST Talks.
Hello, Cowboys. I'm the co-host of this podcast, Brady Volkman. Today, we will continue a new series of BST Talks, What to Study for Finals and AP Tests, Part 2.
In this three-part series, we will interview each BST teacher and ask them about what topics and concepts are the most important to know and study for each class they're teaching to best be prepared for finals and AP tests. Today, we will interview Ms. Kim, Mr. Gulliman, and Mr. Dutra.
First, we will interview Ms. Kim, who teaches Integrated Math 2 Honors and Integrated Math 3 Honors. For each class you teach, what topics and concepts are the most important to know for the AP test and finals?
For IM2H final exam, the most important concepts include factoring, graphing, and solving quadratics, along with right triangle trig with SOHCAHTOA, special right triangle ratios, and circles. Quadratics were covered in the first semester, I know. However, these concepts are so foundational for IM3H, so they are covered in the final exam. And in lieu of that, some topics from second semester will not be included in the final. For IM3H, almost the entire second semester we've been learning trigonometry, so definitely this is essential, starting from right triangle trig to unit circle, graphing trig functions, finding the inverse, and using trig identities to solve equations. Apart from trig, exponential and log functions will also be covered, so being fluent with exponent and log rules and being able to identify the domain, the range, and the asymptotes will be very, very important.
What is the format for finals for the classes you teach?
For both final exams, the format will be mostly multiple choice and no calculators. The final exam weighs about twice as much as a regular exam, which means it'll be about 15% of your grade. And there may be a few free response questions for IM3H, but I haven't decided on the total number of questions yet, so you'll see.
What do you believe are the best methods to study for the finals for the classes you teach?
I believe the best methods to study is, first of all, to have a good plan. You need to know how much you'll need to study and how many hours you should be putting in. So start making plans right now. I know the AP exams are right around the corner, so start planning right now. And number two, having a plan means nothing if you don't follow it, so achieve your daily goals. And number three, self-reflect and readjust as needed. When math teachers teach, we strive for something called CAP. C stands for conceptual understanding, A stands for application, and P stands for procedural fluency. So as you study, you can think about the same thing. Ask yourself, do I understand the concepts? And can I solve application questions? And lastly, do I have the procedural fluency so that I can finish the exam in time? So as you study, make necessary adjustments as you reflect so that you can spend your time effectively.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
I remember interviewing last August about what classes I'm teaching and what materials you're going to need for this class. So now it's already the end of the year. So I just want to say thank you for being great students. And I want to encourage you to finish well by spending your time wisely. Sit down and focus a little longer. Don't watch any idle things that eat up your time. And you want to finish knowing that you put in good amount of your effort. So no matter the result. Yeah. So you guys have been doing great. And so let's finish well too. You're amazing, good people. And thank you for making my first year at BST so enjoyable. If I don't teach you next year, I'm going to miss you. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mrs. Kim.
Next, we will interview Mr. Gilman, who teaches AP Chemistry for BST. For each class you teach, what topics and concepts are the most important to know for the AP test and finals?
For the AP tests, the two most heavily weighted on the AP exam for AP Chemistry are Unit 3, which goes over the different types of materials, so solids, liquids, gases. So included in that is intermolecular forces, the gas laws, and then the second most heavily tested unit is unit number 8, which is acids, bases, knowing titrations, buffers, all that stuff. So those are the two most heavily tested on the AP exam.
What is the format of the finals and AP tests for the classes you teach?
So for the AP exam, the format is you get 90 minutes to do 60 multiple choice questions, and most of those questions are more concept questions than math questions. And then you get an hour and 45 minutes to do 7 FRQ questions, 3 long ones, which it could be multiple units in one question, and then 4 shorter ones that are mostly directed at one particular unit.
What do you believe are the best methods to study for the finals and AP tests for the classes you teach?
The best method to study for AP chemistry is just by doing as many problems as you possibly can, taking as many practice tests as you possibly can. So in our class, we just took a mock exam for the MCQ portion yesterday. We'll be doing the mock exam FRQ in our next class period. And then we'll be reviewing, going over PowerPoints, and all the while, as we go through each unit, I'll be assigning different questions just because the more questions that you do, the more familiar you become with the different types of questions that you may see on the AP exam. So just doing the most amount of questions that you possibly can, taking the most amount of practice tests you can is the best way to study.
Is there anything else that you would like to say?
The last thing I'd like to say is just, I know you guys, everybody specifically in the BST has a lot of AP exams that they're studying for. Just do your best. Make sure you don't go into the exam without, looking over at least some of the material. Do your best to get to everything. And when you get to the exam, don't leave anything blank. At least write something, because you never know if you may get a point or not. So yeah, don't leave anything blank.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gilman. Now, we will interview Mr. Dutra, who teaches AP Human Geography and AP European History. For each class that you teach, what topics and concepts are the most important to know for the AP tests and finals?
I think first and foremost for both of the classes, it comes down to the vocabulary and the vernacular and being able to use the terms appropriately. And obviously there's going to be concepts that are behind those terms. In my experience, students tend to understand the concepts better than they understand the vocabulary. So having the words to explain what you know is going to be really important for the written portions of the exam. Fortunately, a lot of the vocabulary is used in the multiple choice portion of the exam, so it helps trigger your memories. By the time you get to the written portion, you can go back into what you've just done and reactivate your memory, and you can use that to help you with your written portion.
What is the format of the finals and AP tests for the classes you teach?
The format for the AP exams, it's exactly obviously what the College Board lays out. So for human geography, there are going to be 60 multiple choice questions and then three free response questions, or FRQs, the students need to respond to. And then in AP European History, there's going to be 55 multiple choice questions. There are 4 short answer questions, or SAQs. You need to choose 3. There's 1 DBQ where you have 7 documents and you draft a response to the prompt based on those. And then there's a LEQ, or a long essay question, and students have 3 to choose from, and you need to respond to one of those. And so the exams that I give in class are formatted in one way or another to match what the College Board has put together. I feel like being able to practice those skills and get used to that format over the course of the year makes taking the AP exam less stressful, and it's more of a direct process.
What do you believe are the best methods to study for the finals and AP tests for the classes you teach?
It's a really good question, and some of you won't like my answer, because I think that the studying and the preparation for the AP exam actually starts in August when the school year starts, and it's a gradual buildup of information and knowledge as the year goes by. If you try to learn everything for an AP exam in the last 2 or 3 weeks before the exam, there's just too much to learn for everything to soak in. I always think about it like rain. If it rains a little bit over a long period of time, the water has a chance to soak in. But if it rains the exact same amount in 1 or 2 days, most of it's going to run off, and very little actually soaks into the ground and has that lasting impact. And learning in this kind of these types of tests that are supposed to be at this higher college level of thought, you need to be able to let things soak in so you can make the connections with the ideas over the course of time. You can't learn everything and all the connections and all the nuance in just a couple of days. So hopefully you guys have been doing your reading and keeping up over the course of the year. And if so, you're going to be in a great position. And if not, don't despair. This is where it's time to start watching the Mr. Sin videos, the Heimer videos on double speed, and going back through your notes as much as you can, asking a lot of questions, and just, at least for a short period of time, thinking about nothing else but these AP exams, to kind of obsess over it and hope that some things will soak in. And believe it or not, the more you think about it, even if it's only the last couple of days or couple of weeks before the exam, the more you think about the subject, the better you're going to do on the exams.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure to do well on the AP exams, and it's well warranted and well founded. But I think more than anything else, I think it's really important for you guys all to remember that you're not your scores, you're not your grades. Who you are as people has its own merit and its own value and its own worth, regardless of what the score in the exam is. Getting a 5 on the AP exam doesn't make you a better person than everybody else. Getting a 1 on the AP exam doesn't make you a worse person. You are all amazing for what you do and the dedication you have to your craft of learning. And so at the end of the day, when you walk out of your exams, regardless of the score, please take a huge amount of pride in the amount of effort and dedication you've put into this moment. You guys have earned those feelings of pride.
Thank you, Mr. Dutra.
Thanks for listening, guys. Tune in next time for a new episode in this series, What to Study for Finals and AP Tests, Part 3.
And remember, be your best at BST.